Welcome to the Kyle Terry Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk to business owners and experts in their field about the strategies and tactics they use to grow their businesses, retain clients, and get referrals. Join us as we dive deep into the world of business and explore the best practices for building and maximizing success. All right, we're live. Today I'm here with Mr. Rex Hall,
Hello.
United Real Estate Lexington. So I've known Rex for, how many years have we known each other?
Oh, man. I would say since 2018.
2018?
Like yeah.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are.
So I am a real estate agent, like you said, a realtor, as you will, here in Central Kentucky, and also affiliated with United Real Estate Suncoast in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay. And you just recently got that, right?
Just now. Yeah. It is brand new. And so we're going to be focusing on vacation homes, second homes, investment properties, stuff like that down there.
Oh, sweet. So do you go in that area?
Yeah, we're going to cover most of the Gulf. So I would say Naples to Clearwater. Yeah. And we vacation down there. We travel down there quite a bit. So that's kind of what pulled us that way. And I think we'll end up eventually splitting some time down there, possibly doing a few months at a time.
Okay. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So that's exciting. So, I know there are a lot of people from Kentucky. That's where we are, Lexington, Kentucky, that do vacation down there. Mm-hmm. And you'll help them kind of get a vacation home, maybe hook them up with a rental property management place down there.
Yep.
So
Airbnb, second home, vacation home, whatever their wallet and their heart desires.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So how long you been in real estate?
I've been in since 2015.
2015.
Yep.
And what'd you do before that?
I was a detail engineer, project manager. I worked in telecom. So we were worked as a contractor for AT&T. Okay. AT&T had a product called the Ultra Available Services. So essentially they would go in for Fortune 500 companies, and they have several locations around the city. And AT&T, we would go in and install the equipment. AT&T would hook up the fiber, and when we'd hook up like these big optical rings is what they were. So we helped design, manage the install of all that stuff for these Fortune 500 companies.
Nice. And how did you... How long did you do that?
Oh, man, about 20 years or so.
20 years.
Yeah, it was a minute.
Sweet. So what made you want to get into real estate? I know, so you went from a salary, of course, probably, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I have this discussion a lot with employees, hiring people, other business owners trying to hire sales reps, and the people are very scared of a commission. Mm-hmm. They like that cushion of a salary, even though I tell them all the time, if you're on commission, you're going to earn more than if you're on a salary.
Yes. If you put the work in.
If you put the work in. Yeah. You have the potential to anyways.
Absolutely.
Because if you're on a salary, they're going to pay you as little as possible to keep you there, because they can't, they don't know, everything fluctuates.
Yep. You're on the treadmill, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah. So I originally got in, I was going to do...
Scoot that mic over a little closer to you.
I was going to do investment properties.
Okay.
So I had went to class just initially to get some education on it, get on the MLS and have more input, I guess. And just so happened when I got my license, I had several family members that were buying, selling, making all these real estate moves, and snowball to hell, and careers or walks that you get to see just a little sliver of someone's life, from the good to the bad, but you get to help them through a huge transition in their life. And that's something that we like to do. And whether they're a first-time home buyer or vacation home or whatever they are, it's fun. We enjoy working with folks and helping them realize their dream of home ownership or second home ownership or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So, and now you say we every time. And I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah. So Kim, my wife, she works with me as well. So she's kind of the behind the scenes, and I'm more the out in front of the mic.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, and has she been licensed or the whole time?
No. She was licensed in 2020.
2020?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then did she work somewhere before? Or did she stay home with kids?
She did. She worked for a small IT company. She has a degree in social work, so she kind of falls into the real estate category too. Because we'd love to only wear one hat, but you end up wearing a few.
Yeah,
but it kind of helps.
Sure. That's for sure. So that's good, man. It's always good. I think people. Of course, we know each other. Kim, my wife, and I work together all the time too. People say, how do you guys work together? I was like, I don't know. We waited to get married until we found the person that we could spend time with.
There you go.
Instead of getting married when we were 18 and then getting divorced when we were 25 because we just
got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always good to talk to someone who also works with their spouse day in and day out to realize, oh, I get to work with somebody I like every day instead of a bunch of dummies.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Now we do work with some dummies, but they're not
inevitably.
They are not our employees or our coworkers for the most part.
Yeah, that's kind of what you said, man. Is waiting till you're older, getting married, you're working with someone you love, and all that stuff. So it really helps with everything.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to talk about in this podcast a lot, and that you guys will see a theme, is I want to talk about client retention, customer loyalty, how to get referrals, and how to continually grow and add new clients to the people that I'm interviewing, just to see everybody's different strategy. Some people go completely on social media. Some people don't do any social media. Some people do send out mail. Some people do pop by gifts. There's more than one way to skin the cat, and there's a ton of people that are successful doing all kinds of different things. So what client retention, how do you guys retain your clientele?
So good question. That is through,
and there's probably not one single answer. You probably don't just do one thing.
It's really relationships. So it comes down to a lot of agents will work all the way up to the closing, and then that's it. And we did that for a while. We just, for whatever reason, but it's really the relationship and staying in touch, staying in top of mind with your folks. And we do that after closing. And like you mentioned pop buys, we do that with Pro Gifted. Yeah. We do that stuff, and we do mail every month. Let's see, what else do we do? Phone calls. I mean, we do the phone calls, we do the mails. I do note cards still. Okay. I know it's old school, but vendor does a great job, contractor, or talk to somebody on the phone. We'll write notes, send those out, and it's really truly relationships and cultivating those, creating community. We're actually throwing our first client event in June.
Oh, nice!
So never done those before. Not so good at the pop buys, so I'm kind of venturing out into this client appreciation community gathering kind of thing. Like maybe do one of those a quarter instead of trying to pop by every week.
Continue, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And once you get busy and stuff's moving, and you're trying to fit in pop buys and note cards and phone calls and
well, and I think my wife Kim and I relate this back to like when she used to be a one-on-one fitness trainer. Mm-hmm. So it's either a one-to-one or one-to-many. So you can train one class and get 25 people into that one class, or you can train 25 people and then you have to have 25 hours.
That's right.
During the week to train all 25 of those people.
Yep, that's a great analogy.
Once you get to a certain number of clients, you don't have the ability. There's not enough hours in the day or hours in the week to go see those people enough.
Yep.
So it's more beneficial to everyone. That way, they kind of know you're working with the same like-minded people because they're going to meet each other and they're like, oh, it'll even help further than that because they will know, oh, Rex works with people exactly like this. So now it will help with referrals as well.
Yes. That is the end goal, we hope.
Yeah, for sure. So that's really good. And so you've had your license since 2016?
2015.
You got it in 2015?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and now with the retention, do you have do you use a spreadsheet? Do you use?
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting into the weeds here.
Yeah, I'm like right now. I'm like a 3 CRM guy.
Okay.
And which is ludicrous, but I have.
So you use 3 different customer relationship management systems.
Yes. I have one main one that I use for like my traditional marketing. And then I have another CRM that I use for my digital marketing, I guess you would say. And then the other CRM is, that's for mostly, I forgot what my other CRM was.
That's all right. It's because you shouldn't need it.
Shouldn't need three, right? Yeah. So,
so one's for physical goods.
Yeah,
or like
one's for digital, one's for traditional.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one is my online lead generation.
Oh, lead gen.
So I got like Google Ads and stuff like that coming in through through that.
So and then you would probably transfer those into a different.
Yeah, so that stuff that comes in through like Google Ads and everything that's online. Once they come in, I have conversations. We have a meeting, then they go into my other database, and that's what I use.
Yeah, and I've heard several people do that because it gets kind of overwhelming, and it's not very cost effective if you pay for one of the big guys that will filter those out. So it's just as easy to manually, and it's not like you're not running such a huge business where you can't manually put in 2 or 3 leads that you've actually had a conversation with into the next thing. Yeah. Like you're not running a 100-person company that's getting 10,000 leads a day that has to be super automated.
Which would be great. We would hire some folks.
Yeah. Wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? But that's just a different level than what I'm probably not even going to be interviewing anybody like that anytime soon. But maybe one day, mainly we're going to be dealing with some small business owners.
There you go.
So, and now what about one successful retention client that you've had that's like, okay, I've had this client since 2016 and they have been around, bought and sold 3 or 4 houses. They've now become a landlord, or they are an awesome referral source. Just one sample of that.
So I had a guy that come into an open house one time, and we struck up a good conversation, and so I live in the Southland area, and he was living in the Southland area as well and doing some remodeling, flipping, whatever. And that was around 2018. And, but we cultivated a great relationship. He's an architect type, and he does a really good remodel, and we've bought and sold several throughout the years and have a really good relationship. He's trendy, and he knows what's in color schemes and, indoor, exterior, whatever. And I consider myself a marketing person before I do an agent. Yeah. Because either I got to sell the home or bring the buyers in. Like I got to do the marketing piece to even be your agent. Yeah. So I try to stay in my lane, but now like he's a consultant for me. So I have another client that is a referral, multiple transaction client, and he is working on one now. And I just brought him into, hey, what color should we paint this house? And what about these cabinets? And what about the fireplace? And
so you got those 2 guys working together.
Yeah. And he comes in and offers up the advice. And, and the client that I had that's doing the work, he's like, I can't believe you did that. Like, I've never had an agent do that. And I think it's an old Jim Rohn quote. We don't get paid by the hour. We get paid by the value that we bring. Yeah. And I was like, that's kind of what we do, and it helps him help us help him. Yeah. So exactly. That's kind of what we've done to, those relationships, but that goes a long way.
Yeah. So so you got this client and he turned into a multi-property guy that's flipping, buying stuff, rehabbing it.
A serial remodeler, if you will.
Yeah. That's good. Now, what about referrals? I'm a huge proponent of building a referral-based business instead of cold leads. Now, I know you said you do the Google ad stuff, and that'll kind of generate some activity a little bit. But how do you proactively seek referrals?
So we do that through our value and service to the client. Like, for example, that client that I was just talking about, he referred me to another client that does remodeling. Okay. And they're all trying to source properties like everyone is in the low inventory that we're in. But, we consider ourselves relational agents rather than transactional agents. I know you've heard me say that 1,000 times.
Yeah, but that's what you have to own what you
Yeah.
How you do
So,
your business.
and that's something like if you send a friend or a family member to us, we're going to try to treat them like a friend or a family member. And we end up making friends with a lot of our clients. And through that and the value we provide, that helps with the referrals. And you got to ask for the business. I think that was a big stepping block for me, was saying, hey, do you know anyone's looking to buy or sell right now? You know, I never want to come off salesy.
Yeah.
But I finally came to the realization that I have to ask for the work.
That's right.
And but that's really what's helped with it. And I think by the numbers this year alone, we are 86% of our business is referral, I think. So we've been a lot higher in years past, but with the markets doing what they do, it's you got to bring in like the online lead stuff too, and people outside of your sphere, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was exactly what my next question would be. What exact strategy have you implemented? And asking. That's the best strategy. Yeah. You know, a lot of people, like when you're early in the business, probably from 2016 to 2018, probably didn't ask.
No.
Nearly like you should have.
It was just coming, you know. And then as the market shifted last year, I hadn't marketed like I should have. Yeah. Market shifted in 2022, and I'm thinking, well, I'll work on these referrals now. I'm a referral guy, you know, and no, I mean, we had some, but not like they were in years past. And I was like, so you can't take your foot off the pedal in the marketing department.
Yeah, so, because everybody knew somebody that was looking.
Absolutely.
So they were just offering up the referrals to you instead of you having to actually try to get those referrals.
Yep.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people in the real estate market today and in other businesses across the board. Well, I mean, I know somebody who does billboards. They are not getting nearly the referrals that they used to. They're having to do cold calls. And then they're calling past clients of other people that do billboards, trying to work together because they have all these leads of these people that have bought billboards in the last 5 or 6 years that are still in business. And they're trying to call and make sure that they keep all these billboards filled, you know. And in the marketing business like us with the promotional products, there's a lot of companies that aren't spending as much money on promotional products, but there are some that are spending a ton of money on promotional products because they know the value of the marketing side of it.
Yep.
You know, those are the same people that are spending. Earlier, before we started the podcast, we talked about a moving company, and they were spending like $60,000 a month to stay at the top of Google.
Double down.
Yeah, they double down, you know, to make sure that everybody that's moving, okay, if half the amount of people are moving, well, they want to get 100% of those people instead of 50% to retain the same level of moving that they were doing before, you know?
Yep. And I would say $60K a month would keep you top of mind.
Yeah, I would hope so. And who knows what, that was a few years ago whenever I heard they were spending that. So I don't know what they're spending now. So, and then what, the United Real Estate. So how did you choose United Real Estate?
Well, so I was a W-2 guy.
Yeah.
And I was just dabbling, thinking I'm going to do investment properties in the beginning. And I was going to be a part-time agent at best. So when I interviewed several brokerages around Central Kentucky, they were all like, no, you're all in or you know, we don't want you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I ended up at United, and I was like, hey, I got to be part-time for a while. I'm W-2, counting a salary. I can't, you know, just jump in, you know, both feet.
So you kept working?
Yes, I worked for the first couple of years.
Gotcha.
And but I met with Bonnie Mays with United here in Lexington, and she was like, you can work part-time, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, okay. And been there ever since, and she's been a great mentor, and just so much information that she's dumped on me over the years. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And now, a lot of realtors, when they first get into the business, they do not see themselves as a business. Going from a W-2, exactly like what you were, transitioning in, it's all, so if you made $40,000 your first year as a realtor, you thought, oh man, I made $40,000, when actually you made like 2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
You know, because you have to put money out into the market, into your marketing, into your signs, your lock boxes, your gas, your food, your pop-by gifts,
your CRMs,
your CRMs. Exactly. So there's all these expenses. So what about tell us a little bit about that transition from W-2 into realtor, into realizing that you're actually a business and you have to run it like a business.
Yeah, that took me a minute. And, and at first I did, paid online leads like Zillow and these other things and never really cultivated a database and put everybody in one place. And it took me a while. And, but once I did come to the realization like, oh, wow, I am a business. I need to run it like one. It was a reset and made me, accountability. Okay, what are we paying for that we use? What are we paying for that we don't use? And so it really made me come to terms with, we got to trim the fat, use what works, don't use what don't, and move forward like that. But that's when my business changed. I mean, that was everything.
Yeah, and I think that was probably about the time that Kim came onto your business as a... Yeah. So I was going to say, how do you balance the responsibilities as a business and as a realtor? Because those are kind of the same thing, but you are a realtor that works for the business that you also run. So you're the owner and you're also the employee of the business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fix the cameras and you talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So I think as far as the balancing act of working on your business and in your business, I think you just have to be aware of those activities and, stuff that you can delegate, you need to delegate. And then, I think delegation and time blocking are probably the two main ingredients to that. In time blocking in all ways of prospecting, past clients or current clients, and also as well as time off. I think that is the balancing act that is an everyday practice, but
yeah. So, a lot of people, when they first get into business, they're like, oh, I have all the free time in the world, and I've heard it time and time again, but what they don't realize, you can't sit and watch The Price is Right every day.
No.
Or is that what it is? Wheel of Fortune.
Price is Right.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I was thinking the wheel at the end. Bob Barker. Shout out to Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of these people don't know who he is.
Spay and neuter your dogs.
Spay and neuter. Don't forget. So time blocking. I do a lot of that. My calendar is color coded. And I know a lot of other successful business people that are very good at that. They will still wake up early, even if their office is at their house.
Yes.
You wake up, you kind of get dressed, whether it's you just change out of the clothes that you slept in, put some clothes on, whatever, put some ball shorts on and a shirt just to get yourself ready for the day.
Just moving. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't wear your pajamas all day, essentially.
And a jug of coffee.
Exactly. So, and then time off, you always have to, just because you're working for yourself doesn't mean you don't need kind of that few day of a reset.
Yes.
And I know you guys are big on going on vacation,
we
out
are.
west, whatever.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, you get so burnt out. I mean, and real estate really is, I think that's the big myth of, you make your own schedule.
Yeah.
No, you make your schedule around your client's schedule.
That's right.
You're working through the day and then you're showing in the evening or, doing whatever, meeting with the client in the evening because that's their schedule. So, there's time blocking is huge and I'm still practicing that and trying to balance that schedule constantly. Yeah. That's a huge thing to balance and not work 7 days a week and not get burnt out. Mm-hmm. Because man, I'll look up sometimes and I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd the month go? And then if you don't, we literally put stuff on the calendar. Okay, we're going to this concert this night, or we're traveling this weekend, or whatever. And I have to do that. Yeah. If not, I'll have stuff booked on it. And Kim's like, oh yeah, we're going here. And I'm like, I went on the calendar.
Yeah, well, exactly. Same way, And now we've talked a lot about client retention, getting referrals, stuff like that. And everything that we've talked about is focused directly with the client, bringing them in. Mm-hmm. And what about networking? What networking things do you do? What do you try to be involved with? Whether it's directly to real estate, whether it's to try to rub elbows with the right people in the industry that are like construction companies, roofing companies, HVAC people, stuff like that. How do you build that B2B relationship in order to get referrals from other businesses? Because everything we've talked about so far is getting referrals from your clients.
Well, yeah. Leveraging referral partners is huge. We do that through BNI networking. We're a local chapter that, so we leverage BNI, build those relationships. I try to do at least one B2B, if not two B2B meetings per week, which is twofold. Is one, that list of recommended contractors or vendors that inevitably folks ask you for. Those change often. Yeah. So whether it's a lender or pressure washer, whoever, I'm trying to take somebody to coffee, get to know them, and keep that that
way.
going.
Whenever you have a real estate client who needs their carpets cleaned,
we have somebody. Yep.
Okay.
And also to be a referral partner with them.
Yeah.
So we do that, and I try to do either a past client or current client coffee every week. So I do face-to-face meetings and BNI networking. That's my big three.
Sweet. Yeah, that's really good. There's a lot of people that don't do that one-to-one stuff, and that's kind of the reason why I'm starting this podcast separate from the other podcasts that we have, because I want to have an excuse to sit down with people that's not just coffee and record it.
Yep.
Because everybody has some kind of knowledge that they're, that they've been in business for a while. I'm probably not going to sit down with somebody that's brand new, and actually I might, and then sit down with them a year later.
That's what I was going to say. That'd be a great insight to be like, here you go.
Because everybody when they first start, they're like fresh. They know they know everything.
Yep.
Because they know it. Yeah. And then a year later, they're going to realize what they thought they knew and then what didn't really know.
Yeah.
Unless they have been in some other business for a while. And that brings you to, what if somebody's out there is thinking about getting their real estate license, what advice you got for them?
It is not make your own schedule.
Yeah.
There is some freedom involved. But I think training and mentorship would be my number one and two recommendation.
What do you do as far as, we'll get to your number two, but as far as training and mentorship, now, do you talking about coaching, talking about what specific are you talking about there?
So I think as a new agent coming in, one thing I wish I would have had was a mentor, and whether that was someone I was doing a commission split with or whatever, but somebody was like, hey, come on in. Here's how you do your contract.
Yeah.
Here's how this happens. And just situational things, like, oh man, this happened. Now, how do we fix that? Or how's this work? And how do we move forward? And finding those solutions when you're brand new and you don't have that attorney that's a contact, or you don't have all these contacts that you have as a seasoned agent, you don't have, and because you haven't built those relationships yet. So a lot of those are huge stumbling blocks. And, I think if I had that and they're like, okay, call this person, call here for this, or, do whatever. And, and trying to learn that stuff up front. And my third piece of advice would be if someone hands you a document, say a survey or anything else, don't assume it's recorded at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Always check.
Yeah, for sure. Those documents are.
Yeah. But that would be huge. If you have a seasoned agent that could bring you in under their wing, or they have a training program
within the agency.
Yeah. And just take a ton of training, man. Do the designations, and that's what I did when I started out. It was like, accredited buyer representation or seller representative or whatever the designation was. I was filling my time with that while I was learning and gaining clients and all that.
Yeah, because at the beginning you don't have so many clients that are running you ragged from place to place to place to place. So you need to utilize that time.
Yep. And I think the critical first step would be to create a database that you actually work out of, put everyone in it that and start reaching out to them on a daily, pick so many, call every day, and start growing your database from there and maintain and nurture that database. Yeah. That's going to help you more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I know when I first started in sales, I was a financial advisor for New York Life and sold life insurance. They wouldn't let us start making phone calls until we had 100 people on our list.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed.
Yep.
Even though it was our own business, they would not let us make outbound calls. I mean, I guess they didn't really have a choice to let you, but they would not. We had like 2 nights a week where we made outbound calls, and until you had your 100 people on your list,
Oh, wow.
you weren't allowed
You
to
were
make.
stalemated.
Yeah,
Wow.
but that's it forced you to get that list.
Yeah. That's good, though.
You know,
I mean, that is everything. And
I mean, it's a start. You don't necessarily have to sell something to all those people, but you call them, tell them what you do, and
build and maintain your relationships.
yeah. And just say, hey, I'm just letting people know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a script, of course, for you know. And I was going to ask what the biggest misconception was. A lot of new people, they think, oh, I know how to have a conversation with someone.
Mm-mm.
No, use a script, because you use scripts in your real life anyways. You just don't know. You answer the same questions in the same way.
Yeah.
No matter 10 people can ask you a similar question, and you're going to answer all 10 of those people in the same exact way, which is the definition of a script.
It is.
So have your scripts ready to go. Call the people, let them know what you do, how you're new, and how you're just trying to get started. Anybody they know, if you know, hey, you may not be a client, but other people you know may.
Who do you know is buying or selling?
That's
or who
right.
do you know needs life insurance?
Needs
or
whatever service you provide, call, let them know.
Yep.
Work up a script so that you don't have to think and you don't fumble on your words.
Practice that.
Practice it.
Yeah.
Have it in front of you. Make it so simple that you can just,
Yep.
you know.
Absolutely.
What other misconceptions do you think that there are in the real estate business or in business in general?
I think just that agents get really paid really well for a minimal amount of work. And I think there's so much of the real estate transaction process that's behind the scenes that the client doesn't see what all happens and what it takes to get it to the closing table. So I think that's a huge misconception.
And now sometimes it's very easy to make that money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes it's like impossible.
That is a one-off usually.
Yeah, that's 1 out of 50.
Yeah.
100.
None of those are far and few. I've only had a handful of those in all the years I've been doing it. Yeah. Usually it's like, oh no, how does this work? Oh no, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
You know,
the common misconception.
Yeah.
You got paid $30,000 to sell that house.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was working with a realtor last night, and we were there for 2.5 hours. At 8 p.m. we left at 10:30, trying to get this multi-million-dollar house on the market with the best marketing material, and it's already expired twice with 2 other agents.
Yep.
And he's out there doing the legwork. I mean, he sells millions of dollars worth of houses a year, and he is still 8 p.m. We're going to meet.
Put in the work. Yep.
I want these shots, you know, blah, blah, blah. We need to get this for the marketing. And, you know, he's been that producer forever, and that's why he produces that, because he is not a 9 to 5.
Yeah. And you got to do the stuff, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge misconception. I just think agents, we just do the paperwork, we stick the sign in the yard, and then it just happens. Even in these artificial markets we just came out of, it wasn't that easy, you know? So, and even in those great markets when we had appraisal gaps and appraisal waivers and no inspections and all, I mean, there's a lot of territory that, you know, you had to cover and deal with and figure that out.
Yeah.
So
so speaking of figuring all the stuff out, and we'll wrap up here in a couple of questions. Specific challenge. What specific challenge stands out in how many years? 2015? 23, 8 years?
Yeah, 8 years. My biggest challenge is consistency.
Yeah.
I think that is probably my number one. And that goes in all things. It's like, you know, we wear multiple hats. We do the lead gen, we do the sales, we do the follow-up, we do the transaction. So it's like I'm doing 1 of 4 things good, or 3 of 4 good, or, you know, 3 of 5. So, but the key is to be consistent and try not to have 5 things that you're trying to do, but just be consistent in what you're doing. I think that's my biggest challenge.
Biggest challenge is consistency. Yeah. And I've heard that over and over again. And it's very tough because we have so many things to do.
Absolutely.
As a business owner.
Yeah.
Until you get to, like, even if you are at the level where you have assistants for those assistants, if you're growing, you still feel that pain.
There's still new challenges. Your challenges and your obstacles just change.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be a successful business owner,
Right.
because you just you lengthen out the goalpost.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
Otherwise, you stay stagnant and then you disappear and you go get a job.
Yep.
That's what I tell people all the time. They're like, man, you're just going to do this. This is what people say, mailbox money all the time. And I'm like, there's no such thing.
No.
People think rental properties.
Yeah, passive money. Income. Yeah.
No, you just sign the paperwork, they move in, and then you collect a fee every month. Obviously, you've never owned real estate and never had renters, because that is not how it works.
It's a little more
the
challenging.
Garage door batteries die.
Yeah.
The garage door thing gets misaligned.
Water
the
heater blows out.
Water heater is leaking, but it's not really leaking, but it was just sweating or something weird.
Our last mailbox money event was the windstorms. Tree blew down, hit the power line, snapped the power pole, took down 2 other trees, and ripped off the electrical service from the other unit. I was like, it just looked like a bomb went off of trees. I'm like, what do we do here?
Yeah. Anybody that says that they either own one property and they've had the same tenant forever and it's just been great, but get that next one in there.
Yep.
There's
you had a good run.
No free money out there. It's just not, it does not exist. And then, talking about the challenges, how do you stay motivated to overcome all the stuff that comes at you?
Oh man. I think it just, I like a good challenge. And I think my why is my family and kids and dogs and all that good stuff. So, I think providing for them gives me the motivation, and I like the challenge, man. I like to see what works and help folks, and even the challenging ones. It's worth it in the end, usually.
Now, one last question. What do you see your next year or 5 years? Like, what's your future in this industry? Now, I know you said you got your license in Florida, so maybe that's a trend in that direction.
Yeah. So I think we're our next phase. We're going to work on referral partners for Florida, and trying to get into that to have a few transactions down there per year, and grow that to where we can sustain a few months there, a few months here, and kind of split our time eventually. Our youngest is, I think she's a senior next year. So
high school senior. So then we're going to be just down to dogs. Yeah. So I think that's going to be part of our thing. We're going to try to grow the Florida thing a little bit, and grow here too as well. I would like to bring on eventually a buyer agent and kind of grow a team, one there, one here. Okay.
And that's roughly our loose goal right now, that we're still working all the planning. We're in the planning phase for all that.
Perfect. Now, are you working with a coach to?
Yes.
Something.
Yep. I have a business coach that I work with. We do 2 phone calls a month, and I'm just started that. So I like it so far. I think it helps. I'm ADHD, so I think it helps me focus. I get everything done, but I'll start 10 things. And I think this is helping with, okay, let's focus on these, get these done. We move on to the other 3. And then, so I think that's going to bring some more focus and give the business a good direction faster.
Yeah. Perfect. All right.
Thank you for listening to the Kyle Terry Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. If you want to grow your business, follow us on social media. And remember, there's no secret to success. You have to work for it.